I don't think there's any director in this industry that would not want to work with Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. It has to be the right fit, the right film, the right role for someone like him, and it'll align when it aligns.
Do you read all the comments that come?
No.
No, not
Some.
all.
Yeah.
Some,
Yeah,
not
some.
all.
Not all. I mean, we are working. We have lives.
Yeah.
We have to work. Yeah.
But do these things sometimes bog you down that, you know, we are perhaps not even giving them the chance to even watch their performance and then just jump into the gun
I
before
think it's
that?
just become a culture. I think there's nothing that comes out there that doesn't get trolled. So
Trolled, hate, you know, that kind of stuff.
you just have to do your job.
Yeah.
He's firstly extremely versatile. So I think he can write lyrics for a film like Lagan, and then he can write lyrics for a film like Rock On. So that's the beauty. I think it was a bit of a tough brief. I mean, it's sometimes very tough to be simple.
Okay, first of all, I'm very nervous
Why?
because I think you both are very intimidating.
Oh God, okay, sorry.
No, but welcome to News 18. Zoya and Reema, sorry for putting you on spot there. But how have you been?
Good, I'm a little thrown off, but good.
Okay, all right. No. Okay, so the film, Archies, it sends out this message that, you know, you're never too young to change the world, which I think is beautiful. But let's go back a few years. I think, if I'm not wrong, please correct me, you both had started your careers as an AD on the sets of Dil Chahta Hai.
No, on Bombay
No?
Boys.
Yeah, I did a film called Private Detective before that, and I think Zoya had also
I worked
AD
on,
before that.
I worked on Kama Sutra before
No,
that.
I mean together.
Together was
Together,
Bombay Boys.
Bombay Boys.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you take me a little bit, all our viewers actually, the friendship that happened between the two of you, and at what point did you realize that I think we should come together and create a production house?
Oh, that came much later. I think when you're assistant directors on a film set, you naturally talk about film, you naturally catch up on where you are. We were both in our early 20s, we became friends. There were other people we had in common, so we had a common circle, and we both wrote separately. So I think that was the one factor that got us together to actually start working together and trying our hand at writing together.
Yeah.
We attempted a short film and we fought and didn't go back to that.
We stopped speaking
We
for
stopped
about a month.
speaking for about a month, and then we discussed our first features. I wrote Luck by Chance, she wrote Honeymoon Travels,
Right.
and we haven't been credited on each other's scripts, but we started contributing to those films.
Okay.
So I contributed to hers, she
Like
contributed
she
mine.
wrote a couple of scenes, I wrote a couple of
Yeah,
scenes.
and then we realized that we have a sync and a tuning when it comes to writing, and we were both very keen on writing. So after that, the first script we wrote together was Talash, and I think that was the start of a good creative partnership. And starting a production house came way after we became directors and all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. You know, coming to the Archies, I think you both in an interview said that you were supposed to, I think, just produce it initially and write it perhaps, and then you decided that, you know, let's direct it. You both are, you know, Archie heads. And okay, so this is the first adaptation of the comics in the form of a feature film,
Yeah.
right, that we haven't seen. You know, a lot of Archie fans all over the world are going to watch it, they're waiting for it. So when this opportunity came to you for the first time, was there this initial moment of pressure or stress that, oh my God, what are we going to do?
No, I think it was pure excitement actually.
It was excitement, and yes, how are we going to adapt it to an Indian context?
And retain the original characters and retain the original names and that kind of essence.
Right.
That was the challenge.
So never a pressure, you know, of, you know, what will
I mean,
the world
there's always
think?
the pressure of
Yeah.
getting it right.
Of course. Yeah.
That pressure is always there.
Okay. All right. So, you know, what really stuck with me after I watched the trailer was the world, of course, you know, that everybody is talking about, the texture, the tone. And, you know, I would like to call it, you know, this world of innocence and strawberry milkshakes. And, okay, so while that vintage charm is, of course, there, how did you make sure, Zoya and Reema both, that, you know, you also keep these modern sensibilities and perhaps some elements of pop culture into it as well. How did these three things go hand in hand?
I mean, firstly, we don't know we made sure of that yet.
Okay.
That's something that, you know, as you and the audience watches, you'll have to tell us. But yes, we did. You know, Archies is American IP. It is read internationally. It's got an audience, you know, already. And for us, it was about how we're going to adapt it in a realistic way to India. How we're going to create a Riverdale in India. It was, you know, those kind of concerns.
Okay. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, we had to keep the essence of the comic. And what for me was exciting, and I think the biggest challenge is how do I take people like me who are Archie fans into that world, which was, I used to open that comic and I was transported to this fictional place called Riverdale, and everything was magical and everything was pretty and everything was correct. You know, everything worked out in the end. So to be able to create that and package that or insert that with themes that matter to a generation today that may not have known Archie comics. That was the challenge. How do we put those two things together? And pop culture, I mean, the pop culture of the 60s is what we've leaned into in terms of the music, the fashion, the hair and makeup, that sensibility. I think that's the pop culture that we more or less leaned into. And how that sits today, we don't know. But that's been the
and I think thematically we did look at, you know, what is relevant to kids today, and kind of try and weave that in, because, you know, the thing is, even if you're not an Archie fan, we still want the film to be relevant to you.
Absolutely. You know, so that's what I also, you know, thought when I watched the trailer, that of course this world is, this is 1960s, right? We do not know what happened back then, but the very fact that you can still sort of somewhere relate to these characters, and that I think was really nice. You know, I would want to talk a little bit about Mr. Javed Akhtar. You know, he has written, of course, lyrics for your films, and you know, he's known for his shairis and all of that. I think, but the lyrics he has written for this film, it's like so ultra cool and all that. You know, how was that like? What was the process like? Did you sit with him?
Yes, of course. I mean, he's firstly extremely versatile. So I think he can write lyrics for a film like Lagan, and then he can write lyrics for a film like Rock On. So that's the beauty. I think it was a bit of a tough brief. I mean, it's sometimes very tough to be simple, and it was that we needed it to be a teen voice, 1960s teenage voice. It needed to be Anglo-Indian, so it can't have heavy Urdu or Hindi language. It has to be simple. It had to be communicative and conversation-like, and it had to have, it had to fit into a rock and roll meter. So I think it was a bit of a tall order. He said that he had to forget 85% of his vocabulary to achieve this. And on certain songs, he also collaborated with Dot, who's a musician in her early 20s. So he wrote the Hindi and she wrote the English lines to it. Yeah, so it worked out very well, I think.
Yeah. Seems like he's pretty updated with the modern lingo, Mr. Javed Saab. Okay. So Farhan has written the dialogues, you know. I mean, of course, the three of you have worked together time and again in the last few years. Can you tell me a little bit about, you know, what's your key takeaway from each other, including Farhan here? Because solely because, you know, all of you, I would like to believe, you know, are a part of this one generation. All of you are contemporaries that way. What's the give and take like when you're sitting together and jamming?
On this script, we also had Aisha Divitri.
Yes.
She wrote the script with us. So there's her contribution as well in the film. And I think all four of us are Archie fans.
Okay.
So we all know the comic very well. We also know the characters very well. And what was his take? I think his take was firstly the Hindi came from him. The Hindi dialogue came from him. He took a blueprint and made it into that his syntax and the syntax of that particular language, and the simplicity of the Archie comic, you know, and the humor, the corniness of the Archie comic, and that stuff that he can bring up really well. He's the one that introduced from Archie comic, put Vava Voom into the dialogue, which then became the song. So I think we get along really well. I think we know each other really well. I think he understands my tone as a filmmaker and aesthetic really well. So there's not much of give and take. We have the ground rules are set, you know, so there's not that much that I have to work with him.
Yeah. Yes, anything on that?
No, and I think for me, it's Farhan has terrific control over making it sound spoken. You know, it's never dialogue bazi, and yeah.
Okay, you know, like you mentioned, you know, there was a short film I think you both had worked on, which did not happen, and then you guys did not speak for some time. Of course, a lot has changed. Many years have passed now. How do you solve creative conflicts? Are there still moments when you don't speak to each other because you don't agree to something?
No.
No?
No. Now, I mean, I think if one of us is directing, whoever's directing is the last word, because you have to make it your own. But having said that, also, I think it's important that the other person kind of creatively agrees with it. So we do talk it through, we leave it sometimes, and the solution emerges on its own. I think we've matured a lot since then. So
and honestly, the better argument wins. You
Right.
know, it's not personal. It's both of us are really wanting to just get it right. You know, and you sleep over it for a couple of days, and the better argument prevails always.
So, did all of that happen during the making of the Archies too? Some, you know, give and take?
yes, of
Not
course.
agree,
Yeah, it
agree.
was on every project. Yeah.
Okay. You know, I don't want to get into it because it's done to death. But, you know, there's a whole lot of conversation about the casting. But what I do want to understand from you is, so I read these very weird, bizarre comments on YouTube saying that, oh, they have only, you know, cast these rich-looking people or something like that. Do you read all the comments that come?
No.
No, not
Some.
all.
Yeah.
Some,
Yeah,
not
some.
all.
Not all. I mean, we are working. We have lives. We have to work. Yeah.
But do these things sometimes bog you down that, you know, we are perhaps not even giving them the chance to even watch their performance and then just jump into the gun
I
before
think it's
that?
just become a culture. I think there's nothing that comes out there that doesn't get trolled. So
Trolled, hate, you know, that kind of stuff.
you just have to do your job
Yeah.
and do it, work hard, and that's it.
And for us, we just kept our heads down and did the best thing for
Yeah.
the film and
That's
tried
it.
to make the best film possible.
Yeah. So apart from being the mentors to these 7 amazingly talented kids, would it be right to say that you both are also their friend, philosopher, guide, holding their hand at the start this new chapter of
No,
their
I
life?
wouldn't say any of these things. I wouldn't. I wouldn't claim any of those positions.
Okay.
I mean, I'm the director, and I've worked with them. I feel they chose me as fiercely as I chose them. I'm very happy to have started this journey. They've been there for the start of their journey, and they're lovely. They're a very talented bunch of kids, and I will always, I'll always be there for them. And yeah, that's it.
You had revealed somewhere that I think Suhana is actually a good singer, right? Did you say that somewhere?
Yeah, there are a lot of good singers in this.
So
Crew.
have they also sung in the film?
Yeah, some of them have sung. Wait for the
Great.
album drop.
Yes, I can't wait for that. Okay, before I let you go, I have this one question. So, you know, the industry has given shout outs to the trailer, to the song Suno. I mean, I love Suno. It's on repeat for me right now. But so, you know, Shah Rukh Khan, he has called it a very quaint world, which it is. I remember, and I cannot forget his cameo in Luck by Chance. That was so impactful. It still makes it to social media pages. Has there never been a conversation of working together?
Of course, I mean, I don't think there's any director in this industry that would not want to work with Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. It has to be the right fit, the right film, the right role for someone like him, and it'll align when it aligns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you on that note,
Thank
and
you.
all
Thank
the
you.
very best for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.